Well, folks, the political landscape just got a fresh coat of paint. A new government is at the helm, and with it comes a wave of promises, pronouncements, and, let's be honest, probably some pamphlets. Change can be exciting, or terrifying. Mostly it's just exhausting. One thing's for sure though, this changing of the guard has everyone a bit on edge, especially those who are already struggling to keep their heads above water. You know, the folks who rely on public transportation because owning a car feels like a luxury. The ones who clip coupons because every penny counts. Yeah, those guys. The lower class, often overlooked and underserved, are holding their breath. They're waiting to see if this new administration will be a breath of fresh air, or just more hot air. Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. The next 4 years will be a crucial turning point for millions of Americans. Let's dive into the deep end, shall we? Alright, let's talk policy. Don't worry, I'll try to keep it as interesting as possible, which, admittedly, is like trying to make a tax audit sound like a Beyoncé concert. The new government has been making a lot of noise about a whole slew of changes. We're talking healthcare, education, taxes, the whole shebang. Sounds great, right? Well, the devil, as they say, is in the details. Some of these proposed policies have the potential to be real game changers for the lower class. Think expanded access to affordable healthcare, increased minimum wage, and more funding for job training programs. These are the kinds of things that can actually make a tangible difference in people's lives. However, there's also the other side of the coin. Tax cuts for the wealthy, deregulation of industries, and cuts to social safety net programs. These are the policies that tend to leave a bad taste in your mouth, especially if you're already struggling to make ends meet. Okay, so we've got this laundry list of potential policy changes. But what do they actually mean for the average Joe and Jane trying to navigate the economic jungle gym? Well, here's where things get interesting. The new government is singing the praises of trickle-down economics. The idea is that if you give tax breaks to corporations and the wealthy, they'll invest that money, create jobs, and everyone will benefit. It's like the economic version of that game where you whisper something to someone, and it gets progressively more garbled as it goes around the circle. The problem is, trickle-down economics has a history of, well, not trickling down very effectively. It's more like a leaky faucet with most of the benefits going to those at the top. On the flip side, some of the proposed policies like raising the minimum wage and investing in infrastructure could actually put more money directly into the pockets of lower-income families. This could lead to increased spending, economic growth, and maybe even a few less ramen noodle dinners. Section 4. A look back, comparing past and present policies. Now, it's always helpful to have a little historical context, kind of like how I always like to remind people that the current state of American politics is not, in fact, the worst it's ever been. Remember the Civil War? Yeah, that was a real downer. Anyway, when we compare the current administration's proposed policies to those of the previous government, it's a bit like comparing apples to oranges. Or maybe apples to those weird, hairy fruits that you see in the grocery store and think, who actually buys those? The previous administration focused on a more hands-off approach to the economy, with an emphasis on deregulation and tax cuts. This led to a period of economic growth, but it also exacerbated income inequality and left many lower-income families behind. This new government seems to be taking a more interventionist approach, with a focus on social programs and government spending. It's too early to say whether this will be successful, but it's a significant departure from the policies of the recent past. Section 5. Seeds of Hope. Potential positive outcomes for lower-income families. Okay, enough doom and gloom. Let's talk about the potential silver linings, the glimmers of hope, the faint scent of freshly baked cookies wafting through the air. Some of the proposed policies, if implemented effectively, could have a genuinely positive impact on lower-income families. For example, expanding access to affordable healthcare could mean fewer families going bankrupt due to medical bills. Increasing the minimum wage could provide a much-needed boost to stagnant wages. Investing in education and job training programs could equip people with the skills they need to compete in the 21st century economy. These are not just abstract policy points, they are tangible changes that could make a world of difference in the lives of millions of Americans. They represent an opportunity to create a more just and equitable society where everyone has a chance to succeed, regardless of their zip code or the size of their bank account.